If you will, we're going to call this meeting to order. This is Tuesday, February the 8th. This is a regular meeting of the Williston City Council. It is 6 p.m. and we will call to order. I'm going to ask City Clerk Patricia Wright to please call the roll.
Mayor Robinson.
Here.
Council President Jones.
Here.
Vice President Robinson.
Here.
Councilmember Cox.
Here.
Councilmember Hines. Here. Councilmember Ross.
Here.
City Manager Jackie Gordy.
Here. City Clerk Patricia Wright. Here. Attorney Kirsten Ballou. Here. All other staff.
Present. Here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for joining us tonight. We will stand at this time for the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance by the Mayor.
Our Heavenly Father, we come to you with thanksgiving. Thank you for the many blessings that you have given us, and thank you for this day of rain, Lord. We pray that you would be with each and every one here and grant their needs, and be with this council as I make decisions on behalf of the residents of this city, Lord. We pray that you'd be with our police and fire and protect them in their duties, and Lord, we pray that you'd be with our military men and women wherever they may be, and we especially ask that you would be with the military who has gone overseas this week, Lord. Protect them and bring them back safely. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, for consideration, item number 1, additions, deletions, changes, or approval of the agenda as it is presented. I will say that I have one thing under the consent agenda that I would like to discuss in the minutes. So I would like to pull that for discussion. Other than that, I have no other changes. I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Have a motion and a second to approve as amended. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, item number 2 is public participation. This is your first opportunity of the evening to speak to something that is not on our agenda for up to 5 minutes. So if you have anything at this time that you would like to speak to that is not on the agenda, we would like for you to join us at the podium. If you will, state your name and city of residence for the record.
My name is Veronica Harmon Dunn. I live at 210-41 Northeast 40th Street. I hope I'm not stepping on any toes, but this has been on my heart to get it out, so I had to write it down so I can read it to you. My concern is the representation on the upkeep of our community. County Road 318 in Levy County is Martin Luther King Drive. I'm asking for upgrade or beautification to the street honoring MLK. County Road 318 is the main artery of travel connecting to Florida State Highway 27. From Secret to Williston on 318 is approximately 20 miles of scenic view. Martin Luther King Drive has the potential to become a jewel of the community. Throughout the years, I have emailed the road department on simple requests regarding overgrown roadside vegetation, roadside debris, and sidewalk repairs. Although I have received some assistance from the road department, it is greatly appreciated but not enough. Months often pass with roadside overgrown vegetation, trash and debris remaining untouched. Some sidewalk areas are completely non-existent. There is only a dirt path where the sidewalks used to be. Other areas are chipped, broken, and hazardous. My second concern and main concern
Is your second concern different than that one?
is all in
Okay, it's all together, okay, go ahead then.
is regarding the businesses on 318. They should be held to a higher esteem as far as code enforcement. An LLC should not give you the right to destroy our environment. There has been no assistance through the years regarding code enforcement on businesses in our community. These businesses are allowed to continuously destroy the environment in our community by way of trash, discarded debris, inoperable vehicles, and property depreciation. This lack of code enforcement for these businesses is destructive to the environment and affects us all. In closing, I'm requesting your assistance on representing our community with new improvements, repairs, and protecting our environment.
I'll start, I think. Tell me exactly where you're talking about on 318. Because 318 is not in the city limits.
It's not,
No, ma'am.
oh,
So the road department you've talked to, is that at the county?
yes,
Okay.
yes, I have, and sent complaints. I was told that I had to put it in writing and send it up to the P.O. Boston Bronson. I've done that several times throughout the years, and it went unanswered.
Okay. Jonathan, you or Donald, can you tell me exactly where the city limits ends out there? Does it end at May Alice's,
No, opposite side.
the opposite side of the
This
road?
side as well, so.
So at the Marathon Station?
No.
That's where it ends?
I believe so. I'm trying to find out.
Building and Alice is in the county.
Pardon?
May Alice is the limit.
13th Street, the middle school side's in the county.
Right.
The west side's in the city.
Okay, so but as you go down the street, the 318, where you turn off 27 onto 318, is it immediately in the county, or is part of it ours?
All of the basically, the easternmost road on 13th Street that runs in front of the middle school.
Yes, sir.
That's the city-county boundary.
Right.
So everything east of 13th Street is in the county, 318 is not in the city.
At all.
Have you spoken to your Williston County Commissioner?
I sent emails, everything I've tried went unanswered. So I decided to come here because I figured you guys, I get water sewer from you guys, so I
Right.
figured you guys must
Right,
control something in our area.
yeah. But we don't control 318. Anybody else have something they wanna chime in? I don't wanna just be the person talking here, but, Mr. Hardison, you got something to add?
Matt Brooks.
That's what I said. We have a county commissioner who is in charge of this district.
I
He
emailed him as well,
specifically to him?
specifically,
Okay,
throughout the years, but not.
Throughout the year.
Not this year.
all right. And I know exactly what you're saying. You're right. It is a gateway to our city, and it is a beautiful area. You know, it's got rolling hills and beautiful fields, trees. And you're right, the sidewalks have degraded. You're exactly right. So let's get on it together. Maybe we can approach him on your behalf.
I appreciate that, thank you so much.
I can certainly do it on my own, and we can do it as a
So can I.
council.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. And if you want to leave a contact number later, you can give it to the city clerk in case he wants to get in touch with you.
Okay, 786-586-7866. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate your concern. Is there anybody else? Mr. Johnson?
Wow, it's bad, but when the president already knows who's coming up to the mic, wow.
I don't.
Anyway, Marvin Johnson, owner of B&M Unique Style here in Williston, as we know. Couple of accolades for these two gentlemen here. They've taken care of everything that was requested of them, and I'm really proud of them because they took care of one problem that took somebody pulling all kind of strings to make sure something got done, especially since parts are sitting out there in the ocean somewhere in California.
Yeah, that's
So they
what I
did get it
said.
taken care of. And one of the things I wanted to ask the council about was Ms. Gorman was supposed, what about the survey that we were doing for Friends of Cornelius William Park concerning the parking lot that we talked about back then? I don't know if you can answer it now, or do I need to get on the agenda to talk about it? I'll try the 5 minute thing first.
If you'd like to.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell her, give a status, that would be good.
We just
made the first short list with our grant. You know, we applied for a grant,
Oh, okay.
what one? It was a historic grant. Am I on it?
No.
Okay, better? We applied for, through the Department of State for a historic grant, Laura did.
Right, yes. ma'am.
Remember we took the master plan?
Correct.
And we included parking lot, interior drive, and the fence, and it came up to
Right.
$500,000.
Mhm.
We made the first cut. Now, we have a lot of competition,
Oh, I know.
but we're on the list, so we're going to put a plan together maybe and try and go and fight for this to see if we can't get this awarded, and that'd be a great thing for our complex.
Okay, so, but my question was.
That's the one you're talking about, right?
Yes, ma'am, that's what I'm talking about. So the survey
Oh,
gets
the
done
survey, that
after
was the
that
thing you did.
grant
Sorry.
is done?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, no problem.
Yep, sorry about that.
That's okay.
I've been doing grants since, this was East Williston Stormwater Utility Grant, CDBG Disaster Recovery Mid-2. We thought that we were gonna get kicked out because that was a $5 million grant, and
Yes,
that
ma'am.
was to cover, stormwater, utilities, stuff like that out
Correct,
in the east side
mhm.
of Williston, but they're actually reviewing it now, so we don't know any more than that.
Okay.
So we were excited that at least they're looking at it, we just wait and hear. Laura, you can chime in anytime, but I think that's right. This is the CDBG Disaster Recovery Mid-2 grant.
Mr. Johnson.
How you doing?
So February 22nd is when we have to go either to Tallahassee or by Zoom to talk about the Cornelius Williams Heritage Grant.
Okay.
We don't want to do too much work there until we get that
No.
area secured.
Okay.
Now, if we don't win the grant, then we will move on with the parking lot as planned,
Okay.
at least to get that started. But we didn't want to do that if we have to tear it up,
Correct.
if we get that money.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're just gonna wait it out another, I think, 4 to 6 weeks before we really find out. The grant has to be given to us in June, so they'll let us know before then if we win.
Okay, no, that's, at least we understand it, that's called communication, and that's kind of why I came up here to ask. Also, there's one other thing, that the council was gonna look at something as a whole on that master plan, and the useful input that the council wanted to do, was that taken care of?
You know what happens with the plan is all the parts of the master plan's been identified.
Okay,
Everything that they want to see out there.
okay,
Now we take it piece by piece. So,
Okay.
for example, if we get this parking lot, fencing, interior drive, that's when we know we have the funding, that we start doing the survey, coming in and making sure everybody's happy with
Yes.
what the drive, what the parking looks like, what the interior drive, and what kind of fence we have. That's when we start getting into details.
so that's all a part of. what
That's
we're
all
talking
part of
about.
the Cornelius Williams plan. So, we know the elements of the plan that's been identified and been approved, and we'll start zooming in on as the funding comes our way.
Okay.
And then eventually we get it all built. That's,
Okay, just wanted clarity on that,
Yes.
because I didn't know if the council had to have input, because I don't want to get to, the grant gets approved, and all of a sudden we got to back up and say, hey, Ms. Jones, I need your idea on this part, or Ms. Robinson, I need your idea on this part, I want to, you know.
They'll see it again,
Gotcha.
but it'll be to scale. It'll be
Perfect.
right. And then if we have to shift it or move it or whatever, that's when those comments come.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else for this 5 minutes? Mr. Swift?
Just to clarify, did you say there was, you said you applied for $5 million grant for sewer East Wilton?
Yeah, let me get back, I'll identify that again.
Yeah, let's wait till she gets to her report and she can give that to us. We're almost there. Anybody else for public participation during this session? Okay, then we will move to, what was the consent agenda. And the only thing on that was the minutes of January the 18th. And let me get to it. The only thing I'm interested in you looking at, and I need some clarification on, is on page 6 of the agenda packet. Let me find it. And it's under section F, which is, I believe, new business, and it's F, let me find it, I'm so sorry. Oh, discussion of possible action of the Charter Review Committee. And the minutes said, a resolution will be needed to elect a Charter Committee. And we don't elect a Charter Committee, to my opinion. We appoint or select. Then maybe the selects turned into elects accidentally, by autocorrection or something. But I wanted to get that clarified in the minutes.
It's not a formal election, it's just.
Right, it's not an election, it is an appointment or a selection by the city council. So I just wanted to change that in the minutes. So I guess we need a motion for approval of the minutes, if you agree with that revision as amended. Make a motion first
Just a question.
about that.
Well, there it says Mr. Walk, W-A-L-K-E-D, and you may want to make Mr. Walk.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you.
It's a Scrivener's.
It says Scott walked instead of Scott Walker.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, so it does, I didn't even see that.
There are
It's the same
some
paragraph.
corrections, yes.
Scott did walk, see, there you go, there's that autocorrection I'm talking about.
Yeah, we need a proofreader.
Yeah, so, with that additional correction, then, in that same paragraph,
I move that we approve the consent agenda as minutes are corrected.
I'll second that.
have a motion and a second, thank you, Mr. Hardison. Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 4, old business, staff, board, and council member updates. And we're going to start with City Manager Jackie Gorman.
Yes, good evening, thank you. I passed out, an Excel spreadsheet that I did where I'm trying to keep track. We have so many grants going that I felt like in order to keep you all up to date, if the first meeting I gave you grant updates and the second meeting I gave you project updates, that would take a lot of time and discussion. But we have a lot going on, and this is, and it's not done. I still have police and fire I need to put on here. We don't have our $6.1 million legislative request on here. We don't have police and fire, so, but it's a start. And I wanted to just kind of go over it with you so you know, some of these you already know. Right now, we're trying to get an application together through DEO for under an economic development initiative for our airport utility. You know, we have utility master plan going on here. We need to do it at the airport, so that application's in process. We're trying to get that done as soon as possible because that pile of money is going pretty quickly. So that's happening. But the second one is the one I let cat out of the bag on already with Cornelius Williams Park. But we're really excited with that one. That's $500,000. And this historic grant gives you no match up to $500,000. Anything over $500,000, 50%, up to $1 million. This would be a great start for that park because at least it'll secure it, get your parking lots going, get that interior drive. So this is what you really need to do with a master plan is you start looking for funding, and this is a prime example of what we're doing with that. And as you know, we're going to be doing this with all the parks. John Henry is already underway. That's one that's not on here. We're still trying to get that bid out, but that's, all of our parks are going to be master planned and then improvements in the budget and go for grant funding, you'll see. But this is a good example of how that works. We have a FEMA HMTP grant for some lift stations. There are a few good master lift station, Apri, and these are the lift stations that need to be done. This is a $4.1 million grant right now, and the application's been submitted, so we're waiting to hear from that. Right, guys? Okay, let me know if I get these mixed up, because we have a lot going on. Second one is our FEMA HMTP grant, which is, hold on a minute.
Cascade stations, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think my Excel spreadsheet printed out very well, because I'm getting them all confused again here, but basically, we have another through FEMA, which is 18,000 requested. Nope, that's not right. If you look at this, guys, I got it mixed up. The tag grant is for 18,000, it's for leak detection of our gas, and that's already been awarded. We've already got 50% of that. Wastewater treatment plant phase 2 has been awarded. That's taking place. Again, this did not print right, so none of my numbers are coming up right. Lift station 4 and 6 upgrade, you'll be hearing about that tonight. That's a $700,000 granted application that's being prepared right now. It's already in our SRF plan. We have our EPIC grant, that was awarded for $131, and then our disaster recovery MIT2 grant, which is $5 million, that's, being applied for. This will get cleaned up a little bit, and I'll resubmit it to you. I printed this and didn't catch the fact that it didn't print in line enough for me. It's confusing enough, so when I'm reading this, it's not.
It makes a line,
There are
just the
more
lines on there, and it'll keep
Yeah,
it in
the
the right
lines
box.
need to, yeah, so,
Yeah.
so bottom line is, we're trying to take advantage of every dollar that's thrown at us right now. This doesn't include our Rescue Act money that we have, the $1.4 million. Doesn't include our 6.1 legislative appropriation. So this is what staff does all day long, is we chase after this money, we put applications together, we get engineering where it needs to be done, we listen to everybody that wants a need. So we're really excited about it. I'll reprint this and have this all sent to you electronically, and I'll print out and get it in the box tomorrow. So it's a start. And then at the next meeting, you'll get our project update list too. The only other thing I need to tell you is about an unfunded mandate that we have. We found out about this last week when we were having another meeting. Under a House Bill 53 from last year, if I have this right, Walt, it was last year's, right, House Bill?
Yes.
Legislation was put in place mandating a long-term stormwater infrastructure plan to develop a 20-year infrastructure needs analysis. And the deadline is June 30th. And it's the counties that this went to, and we're not even sure, Lee County even knows about it yet. Rutgers is gonna reach out to them. Because when I heard about it, I called Dennis Davis, I said, you know, and he said, I was just about ready to call you because we just found out too. So we've got a mandate on doing a 20-year, project here, stormwater management, infrastructure needs analysis, and that's costly. So we're gonna try and, work with our engineers now to see what that would cost to get it done to meet our deadline. So, and what will happen is all the information that comes out of that will go in our utility master plan anyway, so it's good stuff to have. I've just never seen it mandated like this before.
Right.
So that's coming down the pipe.
And it's passed, right?
Yeah, we have
So
passed,
it has to be
but
done.
all of a sudden, everybody's talking about it, and it's like, what do you mean this is due June 30th, that's our deadline? That's not a lot of time for putting something together like
No.
this, so, anyway, just let you know it's coming, we're gonna be talking about it again.
Okay.
All right, and that's all I have for now. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. I will ask then if anybody else on the staff has any updates that are not on the agenda that they would like to mention briefly. If not, we'll come back to it at the end. Dana? No? Jonathan, you got something?
City Hall is still in progress of being painted, so just bear with us, we're doing the best we can. We got the council room done, and we're gonna do the community center in 2 weeks, so we're moving forward.
Get a little closer, if you will. They're telling me they can't hear you. I heard you, but barely.
We're still trying to paint City Hall. We got the council room done, the community center will be done in 2 weeks, and then the hallways will be done after that. So just bear with us, please.
On the inside, right?
Yes,
Not
ma'am.
doing anything to the outside?
No, ma'am.
Thank you so much. All right, so we'll move to the council. Mr. Ross, do you have anything at this moment?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Hines?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Cox?
We good?
You're good for now? I think I'm good too for right now. Okay, we'll move on then to item B, discussion with possible action, city manager's salary. And we had a brief discussion about this last time. I won't say brief, it wasn't really brief. We looked at the evaluations. We saw that help me with the state, it's not percentage. What word was it you were using instead of percentage? Value. Ratio. The ratio of all the scores put together was a 4. So I recommended at that time, an increase of 4%. And Ms. Hines asked for more information, which I should have brought at that time, and I did not. What you have before you is from Mr. Bloom, who put together a little sheet at our request. You see the current salary. You see what the increase would be if it was 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, and 4.5. So I am just here for you to tell me where you want to go with this. need to discuss it and decide. She has been our city manager for a year. We have done her first evaluation. I also have some figures, if you would like to hear them. I don't know if you do or not. I have some figures that kind of tell you what other city managers make in our area. I don't know if you're interested in hearing that. If you are, I can read those out. Okay, I can start, some of them are bigger than we are, some of them are smaller than we are.
Something in comparison. Is there any?
Yes, let me see if I got the right one here. I got two different ones here, I gotta find the right one, here it is. High Springs, I don't know what utilities they have, but they pay their city manager $81,562. The city of Alachua pays $87,420. Bronson, who's hired someone who's never been a city manager before, hired them at $70,000. Archer, their city manager, and they're smaller than we are and certainly don't have the utilities we do, $95,458. Cedar Key and Dunellen do not have a city manager. In Cedar Key, the police chief is acting as the city manager, and in Dunellen, the city clerk is acting as the administrator. I can also give you Newberry, which has 7,300 population. They pay $121,000. Bushnell, which has, and the only reason I say Bushnell is because there are 3,047 people, $101,763. The city of Wauchula was one that we found that had an electric utility and an airport, one of the only ones. They are south of Orlando, sort of in the middle of the state, and it's $113,695. And if you go, Wauchula, can you believe that?
Okay.
And their population is 4,900.
Yeah.
So it's not anything huge.
Okay.
So if you go back to the little sheet that I passed out, or that I didn't pass out, I have the city clerk pass out. You can see her current salary is $77,500. And again, I'll entertain discussion on where we go from there.
And looking up that, did you, note whether or not they were salary, whether or not they were just regular employees, or whether they were on contract?
I did not. Most of them are contract. Almost everyone we've ever had was contract. So I didn't even think to do that.
So basically you're saying she is, not being paid up to par?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that she deserves an increase.
I agree.
And that, I'm just giving you what others make. And it's hard to find ones that have gas, electric, water, sewer. Most cities only have sewer and water. Most don't have gas. Most don't have electric. Most don't have an airport. A lot of the airports are owned by counties, not cities. So it's hard to find comparison, other than that one that we found, which had their own, they did have an electric utility and they had an airport. So, and like I said, just comparison, just so that you said, no, I'm not saying she's underpaid. I think she's happy with her salary. It's just time to give her a raise. And I think the 4% is where I started. If you want to consider something less or more, I'm happy to entertain that.
I'm thinking, what was our ratio,
It's like 4.013 or something like that.
A little over 4.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with the 4.
But that has nothing to do with pay. It should not have.
It's the way we've always done it by
Right.
history.
But the way we've always done things is not always correct.
I'll ask you the same question I asked you last week.
I'm just saying, it's not.
How do you want to do it if you don't do it that way?
I'm just saying, you're making a statement, so I'm commenting on the statement that you're making, that's all.
And I'm just asking you, if we don't do it that way, how do you want to do it? And I'm seriously, I'm just asking the question.
I think that at some point we need to talk about how we do increases, and it needs to be standardized in some form or fashion. Right now.
We only do 2, as we stated at the last meeting. We do the city clerk, we do the city manager. And as since I've been here, and you can ask these people sitting here too, how we've done it. It's been based on what their evaluation said, if we have the money to do, and Mr. Bloom says we do. Because that was the first question I asked him, how much is it, and do we have the money in the budget?
So for me, a 4% increase is a lot, that's $3,100. I would like to see a 2%, which is about $1,500. I agree we should give her something, but that's a lot, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Anybody else? Or divide it, go ahead.
I mean, if we've been doing it one way for a while, then I'm in favor of 4%.
I mean, nothing says we have to do it that way, that's just the way,
That was
I've
your
always known to do it.
suggestion. Exactly.
And it was my initial suggestion, because that's what came up on the eval. And to me, that's the best thing I know to base it on. And as I say, if you have another method of doing it that you'd like for us to consider, I'd be very happy to hear it. Any of you. I mean, if you have another way you wanna do it, but that's just the only way I know to do it. And obviously, if the money wasn't there, I would say, no way. But when I take the $3,100 and I divide it by 2,080 hours, and let me tell you, she works a whole lot more than 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, either one. That's $1.49 an hour increase. That's not, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not.
And that's a little more than what the minimum wage increase will be, is $1 more.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that's what it comes out to, if you divide the 3,100 by 280 hours, 2,080 hours, excuse me. That's what you get, $1.49 more an hour. Mr. Johnson?
Could I ask a question?
Absolutely.
I hear you guys
If you,
want.
if you will come to the podium. Because you're so good and you're so close.
Okay, if it's always been done a certain way, and then there's a way for change because of things we used to do, I can't even use these new computers they do. So I know the old way don't work for me. And the old way do, but the new way don't. So maybe the council can get together and you guys can hash out a way, whatever Ms. Hines is talking about, and get with the young lady in HR and come up with something that you guys could, possibly do.
This is the only place we can discuss it.
Really?
Because of the sunshine law, and it has to be in public.
This is it.
This is it. And this is the second time we've discussed it, and I have asked for other methods. If anybody wants to give me another method, I'm happy to hear it.
Does Mr. Ross have a idea?
Yes, I have an idea.
Well, let's hear it.
I would make a motion that we raise 4%,
I'll second.
and we can go from there.
I'll second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Mr. Witt?
Well, I have a question. I received a spreadsheet that Stephen Bloom put together, and under Jackie's line, it shows $5,045 that she received at the beginning of the year. Is that a raise, that thing?
Did you not, you haven't gotten your public
I haven't
records
gotten my
request.
request yet.
It was not a raise, it was her car allowance.
$5,045.
She gets so much a month for her car allowance, because she does not have a city vehicle.
And she gets it once a year.
It doesn't say that.
No, she doesn't get it once a year.
Yeah, it's in the annual, something.
You get it once a year or monthly?
No, I get it monthly. I get paid
Yeah, she
monthly,
gets it.
taxes are taken out.
You divided that.
$300?
How much now?
$1.49.
So how much is your car allowance? Is the car allowance?
I wanna say it's $250, $300.
Three.
Before, we had city managers before who we actually supplied them a vehicle and paid for all their gas. And instead of doing that, now we do a car allowance, and that's what that money is. I have seen the public request, the public records request. That's how I know that. Yeah.
It's ready.
Oh, she sent it to you, because that's what I got copied on. It's in your email. Yeah, or at least her information about it, so. Because she copied me on it this afternoon.
I've been writing stories.
Okay, all right, I have a motion and I have a second. Do you have any other discussion from anyone? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries, all voting positive except Ms. Hines, who says nay. Okay? All right, we will move then to item C, discussion with possible action, police department build out. Chief Stroke.
Okay, earlier in the year, we, applied for and received $100,000 loan from Drummond Bank. We were gonna do a build out of the second floor of the police department that had additional office space, and $25,000 was gonna go towards the, replacing the bay doors at the fire department. We had some rough estimates of what we thought it would be, and we thought we should be under the $75,000. However, the two contractors that submitted the bid didn't think we ought to be under $125,000. The low bid was right at $199,000, and the second bid was $312,000. That's basically what I said. My, we looked at it, and there's no way I think that it should be that high, because there's no plumbing even involved. And it's rough in anyway, so at this point, I can't see with good conscience, moving forward with the program. I'm gonna turn the mic over to Chief Stigl, because he still has a need for bay doors, so we get fire trucks in and out.
Yes, he does.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're discussing this, and we were looking at replacing 2 bay doors with this loan. If we move forward with the loan, we could replace all 5 doors and use anything that was left over to start the purchase of replacing the obsolete extrication equipment.
Wasn't there a grant that you all were applying for?
We have applied for a grant for it, yes, sir.
Hadn't heard nothing.
Not a word.
I hate to give up on the police department build out. I do too. but-
I do too. I'm just giving you a option.
And I will say that I thought I knew somebody who would give you a bid, and I asked to be notified when the RFP was out, and I never got that information, and the next time I asked, it was closed.
We had a total of 10 people pick, or 10 companies pick up packages, 5 done a walkthrough, and 2 submitted a quote.
I mean, it's nothing but walls and drywall. I mean, it's framing and drywall
Like I say,
and flooring.
The one was like $198,500, and the other one was $314,000.
That's ridiculous. And the building is worth
$300,000.
$300,000.
So that's one of the problems I'm looking at, you know, realistically. Of course, we're trying to look for a, funding from the state for a new, fire station, police station. So when you got being realistic, yeah, I would love to have the space. But are we willing to spend $300,000 on a $300,000 building? At the end of the day, you got a milk bill.
Where did you put your RFP out? Did you just give it to people you knew?
No,
or
it
did
was
you-
advertised legally in the paper.
What paper? Gainesville Sun. Well, it needs to be local. We might get somebody who has a recent problem. And the Williston, or whatever it's called. Whatever today it's called. Levy Citizen, I think it is. I'm not really
It
sure.
was properly advertised, legally advertised, and that's the 2, you know, we have 5 walkthroughs, 2 actually submitted as a quote. And again, at the end of the day, you got a $300,000 building. It's 20+ years old.
I say go get your $25,000 worth of doors.
Well, I
And
think,
then still work on the building.
he's gonna need more than $25,000 for the doors.
Right.
And I
For
think
2
for,
doors?
2 or 3 years, been trying to get extrication equipment.
Yeah,
He's talking about,
They've been asking for that.
I think he was talking about replacing all of the doors. That, we know the doors were built in the 70s, and they're just,
I thought you already did 2.
we have done 2,
I thought so. Aren't there, how many are left?
5.
5 more?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you're doing both sides?
Right.
Yeah.
I thought only the ones on one side didn't.
Oh,
work.
no, they all,
They all have
they're
issues.
beyond
Okay.
repair. I mean,
I knew the ones on the Main Street side didn't work. I thought the
Right.
other ones did.
well, some of the ones on the Main Street side work, some of the ones on the back side work. On a good day, they all work. So,
Hope it's a good day when the house is on fire.
yeah.
Okay, I don't know, what do y'all think?
How much will it cost for all the doors to be replaced?
You know a builder, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am. Chief Stroh, when did you put your bids in?
That's what I said.
We opened them up,
I'm curious about the time, then maybe I can help them understand why the cost is so high.
we just got them back, what,
No,
within a
now,
month
when did
ago.
you, like, put them out there to get the bids?
We put them out the, first of the year, and we opened them towards the end of January, if my memory serves me
First of
correct.
the year? Look at what building materials cost. I just did an addition, and it would
That's all
cost
down.
me it ain't come down that much.
It hadn't come down yet?
No, ma'am.
Oh,
Sheet of
no.
plywood still costs about $80 right now.
I know.
So just talking about sheets of plywood, that's $80. When I did an addition, just before you did yours, and I was paying $26 for a sheet of plywood. It would cost me 3 times, 4 times as much to build the same room for $30,000. It would cost me about $120,000. Let's do the arithmetic, people. And the price went overnight, so that's why your price is really up.
How about drywall, is it just as bad?
Everything.
Everything.
Anything with building materials.
2x4s and
All
drywall.
building materials.
So that's why his price was inflated, so you're not gonna find anybody.
Well, actually, we have a city employee right now that's trying to build a house. They told them that the rafters, they cannot get until September. If they ordered today, because they have the plywood, the metal plates that go on the rafters, they can't get them. So that's the problem everybody's running up against. You know, a set of rafters, ordered in February, you'll get them in September.
Yeah, but we don't need a roof and we don't need plumbing.
But you need all this other
We
stuff.
need 2x4s and drywall.
Right, and
And wiring, we need wiring,
electric,
obviously.
and you have, the phone
Right,
wire,
CAC.
air conditioning, so, I'm shocked that it's $100,000 a part.
I just hate to give up on it.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I hate to give up on it too, but, you know, when you look at it realistically, we just don't have the money.
How long would it take to get the estimates for 5 doors, Laura?
I've got a feeler out there now trying to get it. The last time we purchased the doors, if I remember right, they were about a little over $5,000 a piece.
It was like 10,000 and change.
For the 2 doors.
For the 2 doors.
Installed.
Right.
And, you know, given a rough estimate, that's probably increased by 10 to 15% at this
At
time.
least.
Oh, at least.
At least.
I can work on that just to get a price, and we can try to get it back next meeting if y'all wanna do that.
Why don't we do that, and then
I
we
would
can make
like
that
to.
decision. I mean, we've
I
got,
don't wanna give up on it.
we've got the loan there, and,
Right.
and I agree with the chief, $300,000 building, there's no sense putting $250,000 in the
I would
build up.
rather put that loan towards whatever other items that they need there at that building.
And the fire department can use that as far as the doors.
I wanna find somebody who'll put up walls and drywall.
Don't we
Framing
find
and
any
drywall.
guys that can,
I mean, how hard is it to put up framing and drywall?
give me a hammer.
That's not totally the issue. The issue is the cost of the materials and getting the
Exactly.
materials.
But if you didn't have to pay a contractor, I mean, you have to pay a contractor,
But you
obviously.
still have to pay for material.
You're gonna have a contractor to sign off on
Right.
it, and everybody works under his license, and
Right.
the liability goes back to him. So I won't say the elder shelter, it's like $30,000 just to work on that contractor.
Yeah, you got that contractor, you got the builders.
And you got, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you got HVAC involved in that too, as well, plumbing, electrical.
No plumbing, HVAC,
No plumbing.
electrical, and data lines.
Right.
And that big old gap up there in the, you know, that's gotta be,
And so you have to put, under the new code, you have to put up, 3 sheets of drywall between us and the fire department, where they keep the fire department, or fire trucks, as a fire.
Firewall.
for a firewall. You've got to triple that.
Right. One of the contractors told me I'd love to bid on it, but I can't get nobody to come to work. It's not fair to y'all. So unfortunately, as much as I've dreamed of it, you know, realistically, I can't say move forward with it until we can figure out first of all, what we've got with this other building. And it, you know, sometimes you gotta say, you gotta cut your ties and move on.
I mean, bring us prices on doors, that's all I can say. we'll go from there,
I'll do the best I can do, try to get back in the next meeting.
yeah.
I wanna thank you for the opportunity, to at least try.
Oh, well, send
Well,
us the
thank you.
RFP and let us get somebody else to look at it. See.
Thank you, Chief and Chief.
That's all I can say. All right. It is. And anything else on that subject, Mr. Witt?
I mean, do you have to go out for RFPs, or can you call around and get quotes from the local contractors? Pardon?
We do quotes on the building.
I think he means on the building.
On the building
On the
we're talking
construction.
about.
There's different ways that we can go, there's different ways to go about it. We're gonna need doors eventually anyway, so you just get the doors first and then we can.
No, we're talking about the build out, if we wanted to go back to the build out.
That's what I'm saying, if we do build out, there's ways to do it, we can sub it ourselves, as long as we have a contractor overseeing it, right? We have a building official that I can get with and find out where our boundaries are, and how far we can do our own, and then get volunteers or people to come and help us do the labor.
I mean, you've got a couple of police officers who could build it in a heartbeat, they just don't have a contractor's license.
Right. So we have to wait for materials.
I mean, they could build it in a month.
And then again, you got to worry about where you're gonna get who's gonna fill the road while they're doing that. You know, last week, we had one with COVID, two with with flu. When you don't have the 12 people, you can't stretch it just so far.
Yep. Like I said, I just hate to give up on it. You really do need it, it's the reason we gave you the loan to begin with.
Absolutely, we do.
I just hate to see it go away.
I realize you probably need a contractor to oversee it, but at the same time, if you call local people that might be able to do the work cheaper, you might be able to do some.
We're having a hard time getting bids on them.
Local people, that'd be great, it's still the materials that we're having to work with.
Again, we're gonna have
But
to,
people are building like crazy, I mean, it's not like they can't get materials.
and bigger jobs pay more money, so they're gonna go after the bigger jobs, but in this case, we need doors anyway, so it's not hurting anything to do those.
I realize that. That's why I said bring it
We
back.
group one upstairs and we can figure out how to get that done.
I don't wanna give up on it.
I don't either.
No. I'm okay with the doors, or even, and who knows how many we'll end up buying, but I'd still like to give up on the rest of it.
No, I don't even.
Until we get there, until there's nothing else to do. Okay, item number 5 is new business, and at this point, we're going to open the public hearing for our second reading of ordinance 2022-693, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, modifying the Florida Municipal Pension Trust Fund, the Defined Benefit Plan and Trust Adoption Agreement for the City of Williston police officers from a 10-year required prior to vesting to 6 years required prior to vesting. Authorizing the appropriate individuals to execute documents, facilitate amendments, repealing all ordinance in conflict, and providing an effective date. Deputy Chief Stroh with me, Brevard.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Madam President, thank you for having me up here again. As you stated, this is the second time for the public reading of this change to the vesting, and I could go through the whole process again, but I think everybody was in attendance last time, and you all understand how important it is for us to change that down to 6 years, and with the cost savings that we've incurred through the careful monitoring of the pension fund, you were able to do it and a very reasonable price.
Right.
And so a couple of things that we did take away down the line for you, so it's fun. And other than that, it's all the same, and we're here for the hopefully final passing of it.
Okay, because this is a public hearing, we will go to the public and ask if anyone has comments. The entire plan, as he stated, is in our packet and was available for review. At this point, we are changing the one section that has to do with vesting. An officer had to be here 10 years to vest in the pension plan, and we're moving it to 6. And this is the second and final reading. If I have no comment from the public, is there anybody online, Aaron? No, that wants to comment? Nope. Okay, so I will entertain a motion for approval of second reading of ordinance 2022-693.
Make a motion to approve second reading ordinance.
Thank you, ma'am.
2022-693.
Second. I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion from anyone? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, and from the chief and other members of the police department, we thank you for the vote of confidence and the change to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will close our public hearing at this time in that regard. We'll move to item B, which is discussion with possible action of D and N Equine Recovery LLC, and this is under Airport Manager Benton Steele. This is a new one.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We had a business approach us, for possible location out of the airport industrial park. And basically, they tried to, set up their operation in a different area in the county that wasn't zoned properly. Faced a little bit of pushback for it, and were asked to come to the airport. We've had some great conversation, we've done a lot of planning for it. And it seems to be like it's gonna be a good fit for the organization. I believe they're in the audience, if you guys would like to come, talk about it at all.
I think everything in the packet, you know, is there. If anybody had any questions, sure. I mean, I don't have like a prepared statement because it's all pretty much in there.
Okay.
I do have some questions too, so
Okay.
you may want to come to the microphone.
Okay.
Ms. Hines, you go first.
I didn't get to state his name.
Okay, if you will, state your name for the record.
My name is Matthew DeGrand.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, so quick question, what happens to the ashes?
The ashes are returned to the owner.
Okay. That's the only thing that I've seen of what exactly we
Yeah.
did with that.
Yeah, anybody that's paying for that service, the reason they're paying for it is because they want the ashes returned.
And the location, do you have any other locations that if we wanted to go and look? Or do you know of any other locations that use the same incinerator?
No, there is one in Apopka, Florida.
Mhm.
It is not the same unit. It's made by Matthews Crematorium, which is a worldwide company. They're based out of Orlando. I use one of their units in New Jersey, where I'm located with a business there as well, so that's how I knew that company. But otherwise, no, there's not another unit, an equine unit in the state of Florida. The closest, there's one in Apopka, and that's the only other one.
Okay, and it's not the same smoke buster?
And theirs is an older type model. They've made changes to it.
Right. This one looks like state of the art.
It's the Ferrari or Cadillac of, you know.
And the only incinerator that I'm used to is a biohazardous.
And I don't call it an incinerator.
I know you don't. It's a crematorium.
It's a crematorium. Incinerator is much different.
It does it, but it runs on natural gas, or that's what you want to run it on?
It can run on natural gas or propane.
Or propane.
When we spoke, you guys, I was unaware that you guys had natural gas possibly available. We would love to.
The one that, I won't call it a crematorium because it wasn't, it was an incinerator. It was, in the vicinity of the hospital.
Okay.
And it was used for biohazardous materials.
Right.
I don't know that it was a state-of-the-art one like this. And all I could do was smell the fumes of, not of what was there, but of the fuel that was burning.
Possibly were they running it off of diesel?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure that anybody would know that. It hasn't run in years. It still sits there, I believe, but I don't think it hasn't been run in years. And yes, it probably was diesel, because that's what it smelled like.
Yeah, that would probably be the only fuel source that you would.
You could actually smell it inside the hospital. Or I could anyway. Well, let's see, what was my other question? And that was whether you had a location for observation, but you don't. I guess my next question would actually be for Mr. Siegel, and I noticed you put 2 different locations in the packet. Are those locations in that area because of the utilities that are available in that area?
Yes, ma'am, so ideally, we would like the primary location, which would be located behind, the Signman Signs building. The reason being is because I spoke to, the utility department about this. We have a large natural gas line that services B&G.
Right.
We could come down that road, cut in behind Signman Signs building, all on our property, and supply them with natural gas, through that site.
Yeah, Monterey's already got it.
Yes, ma'am.
So just
Site-
from there.
site two, after talking with utilities, is probably a no-go, just because of a lack of utilities in that
Yeah,
area.
there's not much
It's
over
an
there.
open site, which that's kind of what I've been showing as just an open site to people here and
Right.
there. But our primary would be, behind the Sideman Science Building, you know, right beside Monterey Boats, and we would tap into that B&G,
So does everybody understand where it is? You turn between the warehouses,
I believe
and,
it's 18th Street.
yes, 18th Street, 18th Avenue, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And go all the way to the end in that vacant field where the square is. All right, I think that may be all the questions I had. Does anybody else have questions?
You asked mine.
Yeah.
What is it for start to finish?
Burn time would be 4 hours, and it's probably between 1 and 2 hours for a cool down period before you can get the ashes out. But it does get hot and it holds, you know, the ashes themselves will hold a lot of heat for a while. There's still a blower that exhausts heat even after the flame is finished, so that does help cool it off. But it's 1 to 2 hours to get the ashes out afterwards. That's what, and when it's at its full prime heat, it could be like 1800 degrees, so it takes a while to cool down.
Okay. Anybody else? Mr. Bishop?
The Monterey line is a 23-pound line, so the line that we'd be running would be a 100-pound line, which is what he would need to service his building. But by doing that, it would give gas to the whole back of that complex for future expansion if and when it comes.
Right, that's a good,
So it's a win-win either way.
yes, it is. Okay,
You say no smell or ashes coming out of this,
Zero.
That's good.
that's why I wanted to go look at one, just so I could prove that to myself. But if there's not one, we can go see
The
it.
restaurant, no, not real close, but
And, you know, we've got other odors in that area. We've got the fiberglass from Monterey, 'cause you can, sometimes you can smell it, depends on if the humidity is holding down the clouds, you know, that sort of thing. You can smell the fiberglass, mostly inside, but not too much outside.
And that was part of the reason, we selected the location behind Sideman Signs, is that it would be well within the tree line, and off the main road to try to mask anything else that could possibly be unforeseen, you know, in that aspect.
yeah, I know it's behind the trees.
Okay, any other questions from anyone? Oh, good. No questions, the audience, staff? Okay, what do y'all think? Entertain a motion, or have other questions for Mr. Stegall? If you're interested, we can, instruct him to bring us back a lease. 'Cause that's what we would need next, right? Because we don't have one in our packet.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're interested in seeing a lease, we can ask him to bring us one.
I move that we move forward with it.
Yeah. Okay. I have a motion and I have a second. Have any other discussion? Okay, I understand the motion to be to formulate a lease and bring it back to us.
Correct.
Because I see all the,
Move forward
all the
with
dots are
the
empty.
whole legal thing
Right.
and make Kirsten happy.
All right, any discussion from anyone? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, sir. Glad you found us. All right, we'll move to resolution 2022-09, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the amendment of lease between Eagles Vista LLC and the City of Williston for property at the airport and identified as Hard Stand 3, authorizing the City Council President to execute the extension and provide an effective date. Mr. Stegall.
Yes, ma'am. So, the transfer of lease was brought the first meeting of December. Or assignment and acceptance of lease was brought, you know, around then. And we had an amendment slated for that as well. Unfortunately, we didn't have all of the ducks in a row on the amendment. The primary being the fuel tank, or fuel truck, I'm sorry. Eagle Vistas requested that they own, operate, and maintain their own fuel truck, which is an avgas truck, with their operation. And with, you know, our blessing, obviously, we're fine with that, given that they purchase fuel from us, and they're not reselling fuel. And so we stipulated that in the amendment, and that was their big ask for their amendment.
That was my only question, and you, as you said, you laid it out. When I first saw it, I said, oh no, not gonna let them do that, but then they're gonna buy it from us, and I see you gave them a good price. I will just say that in the, where did I see this? Make sure I've got the right product here. In the first part of it, is this the right one? Hold on, sorry. Got to be, yes. It gives referral to Cypress Aircraft. That's another company? Yeah, it's in here. It refers to Cypress Aircraft and to Shadow Trailers.
That needs to be true.
It's in here somewhere. Hold on, let me find it.
Yeah, it needs to be taken out.
Let me see, but I know, I thought it was another Scrivener's error, as you say. I gotta find it. What page am I on?
Page 27, section 2.
Thank you so much. Oh, yes, page 27. It looks like it maybe was a copy and paste. It's correct in the top part. It does say Eagle. And is it Eagles Vistas?
Eagle.
Eagle.
Just one eagle.
One Eagle. Okay.
Eagle Vistas. Yeah.
Well, I thought so, but the card has the S on the end of both of
I
them.
know.
This is why I'm confused.
Yeah,
Okay, the card is wrong.
the card is wrong.
But if you get to the body of the resolution, it refers to Cypress Aircraft Sales and Shadow Trailers
I see that now, that was my mistake.
in section 2. So we've got to change that. So what should it really say?
Suspension is being kind, that was my mistake, and it should say Cypress Aircraft Sales to Eagle Vistas.
Because it's currently, it was currently Cypress Aircraft Sales.
It was
And
from
actually-
Revolution, yeah, it was from Revolution Aviation to.
And it's an amendment, I believe.
Yes, it was a Revolution, 15 Tango Revolution, right? Not Cypress at all.
We can get it fixed up.
Whatever the most recent one was. Whoever owns it. I'd have to go
That's
back.
Revolution.
We're passing.
Revolution. Okay, so I did catch that. My notes are so bad on my paper here, I could barely read my own notes. And I would just comment too, that when you give me a lease, this is just Deborah, and you're amending it, I would really like to see strike-throughs and additions, so that I can tell what it is that got changed, because if not, I have to read every single word again. And in this case, that was a good thing I did, because I found that. And when I also get here, does it also say that they're going to consolidate with Ag Pilot Services?
Ag Pilot Services is a sister company of Eagle Vistas. It's basically just a second company.
A subsidiary of
Yes,
theirs?
ma'am.
Okay.
And that's only if they got to the point where they needed to reach out for more help from instructors.
Which we're gonna hope that they do.
Right, absolutely. So,
Can I clarify?
yeah, come on.
And the blanks that are in the lease. There are blanks everywhere, that I don't know what they're supposed to be either. Go ahead, Ms. Berry.
Beverly Berry. Consolidated Ag Pilot Services is another company of ours, and at a previous time, it was used for a Part 137 spray operation. I do not have that active at this time. The only way that would be activated would be if there was a demand in place, and if I had, instructors and workers that wanted to do that. And we would certainly come before, with an actual request, and like Ben had referenced, we would have to be registered with the state of Florida, where we have been before the Department of Ag as a 137 operation.
So does that need to come out of here? Because it's in here currently. I can find it on, I can't remember what page it's on, but it's, oh, you're so good. Thank you, Mr. Elliott. On page 49, it refers to them consolidated in number 4. It says the leasing may, upon 30 days' notice to the lessor, assign, sublet, or join in the right, title, or interest in the lease their related business, Consolidated Ag Pilot Services, provided the notice to the lessor includes proof of activation.
Which says I would notify you,
Right.
should we choose to do that.
So do you want to leave that in here?
Yes, that I would give myself an opportunity
Okay.
to do that with the 30 days.
All right, I just didn't know who they were when I was reading the lease.
It's my own company, and right now it does nothing. It does
Okay.
nothing.
It's
Yes.
not an active corporation.
No,
Okay,
no,
gotcha,
it
or an
was-
active LLC.
Yes, yes.
All right. Anybody else have questions? All right, so how are we gonna proceed? Can you go back to all the blanks, Ms. Latricia? Yeah, like right there. We don't know. We know we've changed the terms, the date of when it started and when it ends, but there's no initial rent amount.
I spoke with Benton this afternoon, and on the lease here that I have for you to sign, it has been corrected.
Okay, so can you tell us what that says?
The rent's not changing from what it currently
Okay,
is.
that was my question, is whether it has been updated or not.
Yeah, it goes up.
We haven't done that yet. So it's been handwritten in, is that what it's?
No, it's been typed.
Okay, gotcha. So it's a new page. If you can just read us paragraph 2.
Okay. The rent for initial 5-year term shall be $10,103.28 per year. And
The rate per month,
the rate per month is $841.94.
okay? Thank you so much. I think those were the only blanks I saw. Anybody have questions for Mr. Stegall or Ms. Berry? If not, I will entertain a motion for resolution 2022-09. I'm so sorry. Thank you very much. Are you okay?
This is second period, right?
Yes. Oh, no, this is the first one, but this is the only one we have to have, because it's not an ordinance, it's a resolution. Yeah. So that's why you need to be happy with it, so this is the done deal. Got a second? Are you seconding the motion?
I will.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'll entertain any other questions or comments from anyone. You ready for the whatever it is, the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you both. Okay, so now, let me find myself. We'll go to item D, resolution 2022-10, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, to approve an amendment to the Public Transportation Grant Agreement, FDOT project number 431238-1-4-94-20, Williston Municipal Airport Design and Rehabilitation of the General Aviation Transit Apron and Construct Taxiway H Connector. Change order number 1 for execution and providing an effective date. Mr. Stegall.
Yes, ma'am. So we've already executed the initial contract, for this. However, change order number 1 actually talks about the connector taxiway hotel that goes around to the T hangars. And the initial project was, the contract was signed before we had the funding in hand to do the connecting taxiway. Now that we have the funding in hand, we issued a change order on the backside to make sure that we could do everything and, still had the money to pay for it. So this is still 100% funded project.
Nothing like an extra $360,000, huh?
Right. Feels pretty nice.
I like it. Okay.
And the customers are all very happy out at the airport and finally have a connecting.
I'm sure. This will let the people that are in the T hangars go through to the fuel farm instead of going all the way around to come into the fuel farm. So that'll be really nice. Okay, any questions for Mr. Stigall? Entertain a motion for resolution 2022-10.
I move that we approve resolution 2022-10.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion from anyone? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you so much. The airport show's getting enough. Item E is discussion with possible action, workshop dates to be established for electric rate and new gas ordinance. Mr. Bishop.
Yes, ma'am. So the gas ordinance has not been changed or altered in many years, with so much construction and development current and forecasting in the city of Williston, needs to be looked at. FGU and Public Works will present a new gas line ordinance to replace, the current ordinance. They have used models in the past for multiple cities, and they're having great success with it. The electric rates are, one of the lowest in the state, and will cease to be a long-term solution for the general funding of the city of Williston. We need a immediate adjustment. Hang on. By 2026, we will be making thank you, the revenue will be $4,037 for the positive. So at this time, we can't sustain what we're doing until 26, and after 26, we won't be.
Okay, you're gonna have to eat the mic because I can't hear you. I can because I'm reading your lips.
Alright, so the electric rates are the lowest in the state, and will be ceased to be a long-term solution for the general funding of the city of Williston without immediate adjustments. By 2026, the margin will be $4,037 in there.
Good grief.
So at this rate, we can't sustain it past 26.
Okay, so what you want us to do is set a date for a workshop?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you're requesting at this
Absolutely.
time?
And I have multiple dates in front of me that you can choose from.
How nice. Okay, what month do they start in?
February.
Okay, boy, Johnny on the spot. Okay, what's the first one?
February 24th, March 1st, March 4th, March 10th, March 15th, and March 17th. Both FMPA and FGU.
They can come all of those.
Yes, ma'am, they agree to come to any of those dates, both of them.
Does anybody have a day of the week that's not good for them, other than Tuesday and Monday? Monday for me too. Monday and Tuesday are out for me, I can tell
Monday
you.
and Tuesday's out for me.
So the Thursdays are looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think the 17th is a Thursday, but I don't have my calendar.
Yeah, you did think some, did you say the 17th?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I thought you started on the
Exactly.
24th.
Something's the 24th, oh, the safety training is the 24th.
And what time of day would you like to do this, or evening, whichever, what do
We
you
don't
do?
have a time set up yet, we're looking to see what you
Okay,
want to
so
do.
that's another thing we need to come up with.
If you can come up with a time, we'll meet your time.
Yeah, February 24th is the safety
Do
training.
y'all prefer looking at the is Thursday okay with everybody else? This end looks like Thursday's working all right.
Thursday.
How about this end? Thursday looking okay to y'all?
What is that date?
Thursday, he's talking the 17th or the 24th?
March 17th.
March 17th.
March 17th.
Yes,
St. Patty's Day.
Yes, ma'am.
March 17th.
Oh,
I thought you were saying February 17th.
No, the only February he said is
It's
the
the
24th.
Okay.
So the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, the 15th, and the 17th are all in March.
Unless we do the February 24th.
Just to take into consideration, it's possible that the city manager might be in Tallahassee the 24th.
the 24th
Yes, ma'am.
of March.
It's possible.
Thank you.
No, February 24th, ma'am.
February
Yes,
24th.
ma'am.
Also, February 24th is, when it comes to board meeting for the,
Canvassing board meeting.
if I did,
So I won't be until I have
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause she's on the canvassing board.
We'll fly her back quickly.
I'm sure we got some pilots that could arrange that. All right, so if it's not the 24th, you're looking at March again, 17th and 24th? March 1st. March 1st.
So March 17th and March 4th might sound better to your needs.
March 4th, did you say?
That's a Friday.
I think we're on the 17th.
March 4th, also would be, when they would be certifying the elections, which I'll be.
All right, everybody look at March 17th.
Let's go, yeah.
Where's it out?
March 10th.
March 3rd.
Is Chance, was the Chance on his list?
Was it 10?
Ma'am?
10,
Yes.
15, 17?
And we could do a March 3rd possibly too.
3rd, so all those are Thursdays. I have something to do on the 3rd at the airport. And it's, 2 o'clock. How does March 17th work? Are y'all like earlier than that?
She mentioned the 10th.
The 10th, is the 10th good for you? March 10th? Any of the Thursdays are okay? All right, so what time are we talking? Are these,
We can do 6.
they can come at 6?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll do 6 on March 10th. Okay. Put it down. What are we calling it? Rate study?
Yes, ma'am.
Rate study workshop.
Ordinance review, and it's just, like I say, it's just to explore some options.
At 6 o'clock. What I would request between now and then, I don't know what anybody else wants, is look at what we have now.
Yes, ma'am.
If you can get us all a copy of that, and if you can get us a copy of some comparisons. You say we're the lowest in the state, we
Yes,
used to
ma'am.
be the highest.
We'll have you an agenda.
So, well, I want it before the agenda.
We'll get it to you.
Ms. Deborah, that'll also be part of the presentation on that day.
Okay, the comparisons will?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm just telling you, that's what I'm gonna wanna see. If you're telling me we're one of the lowest, we used to be one of the highest.
Yes, ma'am.
I know we're not one of the highest anymore, but I didn't know we were one of the lowest. Okay. Anybody else want anything specific they can think of at the moment? Other than what we currently have and the comparisons? Okay, so it looks like we're on for March 10th at 6 o'clock. Anything else on that? No, at the moment. Nothing else? That's good for now? Okay. All right, we'll move then to item F. Discussion with possible action, services for Wright Pierce for design of the, Community Development Block Grant Cycle. Jonathan Bishop, Public Works Director.
Yes, ma'am. Wright Pierce has been utilized effectively for these previous grant cycles in the past. This will not affect any existing service contracts with the city of Wilson currently, and with any other vendors. I got a statement to read, sorry. Walt Nichols here tonight. He's an engineering consultant with Wright Pierce and has been and will continue to be very active with the city of Wilson engineering concerns, needs, I should say, sorry. He joined Wright Pierce about 6 months ago, but has been a colleague of Dennis Davis, for many years. He has an engineering degree in engineering consulting for over 37 years. He's a senior project manager with the civil group leader working out of Gainesville, Florida. Mr. Nichols.
Thank you, John.
Good evening.
Good evening. I just want to talk to you about the upcoming window we have for the CDBG grant application. As you're probably aware, you've applied for grants before in the past. We've just closed out the wastewater treatment plant phase 1 grant, And so that is done and complete, so that does allow us to go in for a new cycle. You can't have a new application if you have an outstanding grant. So the City of Williston now has this opportunity to apply for another grant.
Okay.
But we have a very narrow window. We're expecting the grant application process to open April of this year and it'll go 45 days. So in that period of time, we can submit a grant on behalf of the City of Williston, an application for a grant. We've been talking with staff, and again, because it's a short period of time, in some of the history, you typically get grants in the range of $650,000 to $750,000. That's about the grant dollar amount that you could expect. So we're looking at what types of projects could we do that would meet that criteria. There's income levels and different other criteria for a CDBG grant, so we're looking at where we could do a project within the community. And the grant process, you get higher points and a higher ranking if it's, quote, shovel-ready. The design is done, it's ready to go to construction. So if you have a project that's ready and you can go, you're gonna get a higher chance of winning that grant. So what we're proposing, we've looked at a variety of projects, and again, talking with staff, we looked at the downtown sewer system rehabilitation project, East Williston water and wastewater expansion, some East Williston drainage improvements, and also in East Williston some pump station upgrades. And we feel, given the time frame that we have to get designs started and done within this short window that's coming up by April, the amount of money that you could possibly get, we feel that the Williston pump station upgrades, we feel should be the project that we should apply for on your behalf. And that's lift station number 4. And that's been in studies to be improved for a long time. It's probably one of your worst pump stations, if I'm correct on that. So we feel that would fit the criteria. We could get a design done if we are authorized quickly to do that, get that design done, do the application. And we also have, if the costs come in, lift station number 6, there's some other improvements we could do. Possibly bringing natural gas service to that, and then we can get a backup generator there. There's other work, but we feel that project, lift station 4 and possibly 6, would be an ideal candidate to apply this round.
And I believe there were maps in here that showed those. Yes.
Yeah.
The next page, and it shows the 2 lift stations at the bottom.
Yeah. So we're proposing lift station 4, lift station 6.
Right.
With the primary project being lift station 4. And
Okay.
so we'd, like your approval and blessing on that to go after that grant. Knowing if that's the project we're gonna do, we need to prepare a proposal, technical proposal with the scope and our fee, and bring that back here to the commission for approval. We just didn't know in which direction we're gonna be going. We feel with that grant amount, the type of work that's needed, we're gonna come back with a proposal somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000, which will be covered by the grant also. But we'll come back to you with that. But we do have a very short window, because we're expecting it to be open in April, and 45 days thereafter, it closes. So we have to have plans done, permits submitted, and have the project on the shelf ready to go. And then you have a good chance of obtaining that grant.
Okay.
Well, let me clarify something. The design fee won't come out of CDBG, we're gonna pay for that out of the rescue money. This is all utility, okay? all
It's Fred
towards
Fox that'll
utility.
come out of it.
Right, once we get the grant, then it pays for whatever
For Fred.
administration, but the preparation of these plans, it'll come out of the rescue money that we have, we've already cleared that with Stephen Bloom, so it's on our way. It's all part of the whole utility planning that we're doing, and starting with the lift stations is the best thing we can do.
Right.
Then we can start with when our master plan is done, shooting out the projects.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody have any questions? I only had one that was it was unusual. And I have to again, see if I can find it. That's one bad thing about having it on the computer, you can't highlight things. And I'm a highlighter queen, so, on my PDF, you can highlight it?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know how to do it, I have to show you. On an Adobe Reader, I didn't think you could. All right, so there's a section in here somewhere, that says that the city manager we'll approve the contract. And that's not the way we normally do things, so I just thought I would bring that forward.
Yeah, I think we're gonna come back with you once we know that this is the project with a scope of fee. It would be under our general services contract. We have a general contract with the City of Williston. This will be a task order under that.
Right.
That would need to be approved. So we'll come back for the next, probably at your next meeting, with that, now that we know what the project's going to be.
Can somebody help me find that? Where is that?
It's on the second to last page on 40, page 40.
Page 40, second to last paragraph.
This memo?
Oh, yes, okay.
Second to last paragraph.
Yes.
So,
The
yeah,
city council, well, let me see.
we're bringing back a resolution was authorizing council.
So why does it say that?
Well, this is before we had all of our discussions.
Right.
Dennis kind of created this memo of what would be our path forward. We know we have a short period of time, and the discussion was possibly, could we get a full resolution today?
Right, right. I
Prior to
remember
this
some of that
meeting, we
discussion.
decided, let's present the project to
Yeah.
you, and get a blessing on the project.
Okay.
We'll come back to you for the resolution.
All right,
So that is it.
okay. And it's okay with me as long as the council knows that's a change from what we normally do. Because normally our administrative person for signing documents is the president, not the city manager. Okay. Anybody else have any questions for either staff or Wright Pierce? Okay, if not, I will entertain a motion. Well, I don't have a resolution. It says, discussion with possible action, so we need to tell him to go ahead, or we're not gonna have to. Yep, so I guess we can give him consensus that he's gonna bring it back for us for approval, so.
Yeah, and that is the project. that
Okay.
will need to be
All right, so we will have consensus from everyone
Yes.
to have them go forward. Everybody okay? All right, we have consensus.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm newer to Wright Pierce, so I've been in the area doing engineering for quite a bit of time. I've worked with Dennis many years.
Yes, I was surprised not to see you were here tonight, then I realized it was you.
Yeah, he actually, he was gonna be here, but he was not gonna go.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
Staying away.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you spending your evening with us.
Well, I've been here quite a bit recently, and I hope to be here more often, and hope them so.
Good.
And I'm local here in Gainesville.
Oh, good. So you're not far.
And I hope to see you quite a bit.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, we're going now to item G, which is Resolution 2022-08, a resolution of the City of Williston, Levy County, Florida, authorizing Florida Gas Utility, FGU, to sign an agreement on behalf of the City of Williston to participate in Block 3 prepaid program and provide an effective date. Mr. Bishop.
Yes, ma'am. The Florida Gas Utility presented the Block 3 prepay plan
That's hard to say.
to the council back on July 6th of 21. The plan offers a 30% discount for natural gas to all of the Williston and the city council, with an agreeable but not needed a resolution authorizing the FGU to move forward at this time.
Okay, so the resolution is back. We agreed at that time, but we need a resolution.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you say prepay, that means we're gonna pay in advance, obviously?
No, ma'am,
No, what does that mean?
you buy a block of X amount of decatherms,
Mhm.
and it locks you into a price.
Okay,
So in the
so
market-
we agree to buy.
Yes, ma'am.
We don't actually buy, but we agree to buy.
Correct, you buy as you use.
Calling it a prepay of the decatherm.
Yes, ma'am.
Of natural gas, okay. Thank you for that, I appreciate it. All right, any other questions for Mr. Bishop? Or I would entertain a motion for approval. And it is Resolution 2022-08.
I move that we approve resolution 2022-08.
I have a motion and I have a second. Do I have any other discussion from anyone? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item H is Resolution 2022-11, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Levy County, Florida, authorizing Human Resources to designate a full-time information tech and provide an effective date. IT Manager Aaron Mills and Ms. Deanna.
Good evening, council.
Hello. Good evening. Ooh, it's a voice from the.
Karaoke over here.
It works when you get close to the microphone.
Yes, it really does.
Okay. Along with this comes some good news. We are literally hours away of man-hours getting CalLink on the air.
I'm so close.
Well,
That's good.
like everything else, we keep having setbacks, little things, weather, sickness, disease, injury, you know, little things.
No injury, we're good with everything else.
Some minor injuries along the way, but we're okay. We've got the antennas on the tower, the networking cables are up, everything's up except for the transmitters, the access points. We were in the process of putting them up, and a couple of utilities guys got hurt doing it, and we had to abort and regroup. So when weather permits and man hours permit, we'll get it on the air. So we're probably 8 or 12 hours away of work getting it up. That being said, our EPIC grant, part of our satisfaction of the grant was to be self-sufficient within a year. Well, we're 6 months into the grant award at this point. So we're gonna have to work hot and heavy to get these people signed up and hooked up once we get this on the air. I myself, there's no way I can do it 100% by myself. We have approval in the budget for a part-time IT person. We kinda have a problem finding a part-time IT person that wants to come work. So sitting with Jonathan and Donald, we worked out the possibility of combining 2 part-time jobs into a full-time position that would float between the 2 departments, primarily focusing on IT initially to get these installations done, and then as that slows down and gets us self-sufficient to satisfy the grant, then move more toward doing some more part-time between the both departments.
Right.
Whatever utilities need. The overall math works out to save us about $10,000 a year. Combining the 2 part-time positions versus a full-time position with the benefits, we still save about $10,000 a year. And we get probably a higher quality employee that's gonna be willing to stick around and work a while.
And for those who can't read that very well, the top number is 61,000, and the bottom number is 51,000. That's highlighted in yellow.
And that was the comparison between the 2 part-time 30-hour positions.
Right.
Into a 1 full-time position. That would also help cover any additional overtime it may incur, as IT sometimes incurs overtime, and so does utilities.
And I think we discussed during budget how hard it was going to be to find a part-time person to do IT.
Part-time and quality.
Well,
Yes.
part-time
Somebody who
and-
knew what they were doing, who would be here when we needed them. But it is hard for a part-time person, because they're obviously gonna have something else to do at the same time. Any questions for Mr. Mills or for utility department on combining those 2 part-timers into 1?
About how many, residents have expressed interest into signing up for CalLink?
At this time, we probably have about 50 or 60 on a list that are ready to go. Some of them are not serviceable yet. There are a lot of them out in the Highlands, out in that area. We just can't get to them. There's no service out there yet. That was something we'd have to talk about in a future expansion, but our primary focus is here in town. We've got 20 or 30 that's already put in our software system that are literally, I get emails every day. Are we up yet? Are we up yet? I'm ready. What are we waiting on? You know, getting them signed on is not gonna be a problem. Getting them hooked up and connected is gonna be the work.
So we'll need a full-time person.
It's gonna probably take both of us full-time a good month or 2 to get as many as we can done. You know, once we hit about, I think it's somewhere around 60 or 80, we'll be self-sufficient at that point as far as paying the bills. So anything past that will be gravy. We're limited to about 250 customers at this point, and then we'll be maxed out with IP addresses. So then we have to solicit for more. So once we hit the halfway point, we can start soliciting for more addresses. Once we get 100, 125 people on, we can start asking for more. Whether we get them or not, that's a whole different story.
Is
but,
phase one going as far as the airport?
no, not really.
Not quite.
The area will service that area.
Right.
We have about a 4-mile radius from downtown that we
Right.
can cover, given, if you get line of sight. But getting it out to the airport is possible, yes. But that's about the limit.
Are you planning to pull fiber or shoot a line there? Shoot-
Actually, for CalLink, we're not, at this point, not planning anything. We can still, with line of sight, we can still pull from here.
I started to say, weren't we originally planning to get them on the system right
Yes.
away? I
Yeah.
thought we were.
Yeah, but again, it's all line of sight, so it depends on the building. So someone, let's say, that lives out by the airport in say one of those houses there by the road off of 18th Avenue, they probably won't be able to get it because the trees would be blocking the signal. But say someone there in, say Monterey, they have a big warehouse with a big tall roof, they would probably be able to get it. Because their roof
Just how
line
high their antenna
would be high
is.
enough to clear the tree line and be able to pull it in.
Okay.
So that's.
And the airport itself?
Airport itself, we have a total different solution going for them.
Okay, that's what I'm asking about.
Yeah, they're gonna be tied to this network here, not CalLink,
Perfect.
so,
Oh,
We're
to
working.
the city hall.
yes.
Mr. Webb?
I wonder if someone built a tower at their own expense, could they get the city signal?
Absolutely, if they're in that area, if you're in that area in the coverage areas, it's not a problem.
They just get it high enough for
You
line
just
of
gotta
sight.
clear the tree line and get a signal. But that being said, we still have about a 5-mile range is about the functional limit of our equipment.
Right. Okay. Any questions for Mr. Mills? Would you like to entertain resolution 2022-11?
I make the motion, we approve resolution 2022-11.
I have a motion, I have a second from Ms. Hines. Ms. Nelson, do you have any comments? Anything you'd like to add? You're all good? Okay.
Just for formality, we have to do a job description with the pay grade and resolution and bring it back to you.
Okay, now you're gonna bring that back to us, or just gonna do it?
No, we have to bring it back to you because we have to formally adopt it into our retirement. It's a new position.
I think you've already done that.
I thought we had done
I
it
think that's already been done.
I thought we did that.
You did you did the resolution for the position already?
I
You're just getting it approved.
I think we have a job description.
The job description,
You gotta flip your
Yeah, it's your shield.
shield's blocking your.
Sorry.
Is that better?
Yes, ma'am.
The job description is already
I
done.
thought so.
right.
Yes,
So we just need the resolution on our next
We need to
agenda.
adopt it.
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. All right, I have a motion, I have a second. Do I have any further discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Flipping the page. Item number 6, we are back to our second opportunity for the public to participate in this meeting. Again, you have 5 minutes if you would like to add anything that has, well, at this point, anything that you would like to talk about. You have 5 minutes. Anybody online that would like to participate? All right, if not, we will move then to item number 7, which is announcements. And I'm gonna start with Mr. Ross.
I have none.
Okay, Ms. Hines.
I don't have any announcements, but I just wanna, get some clarification for her salary.
Oh,
Then what we're gonna say,
they'll have to bring us back a resolution.
and should we, like, retroactive?
Yes, to October 1st. So, well, to whatever her anniversary was, which I believe it was on.
It's not my contract.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yes, thank you for that clarification. Yeah, and we will have to have a resolution in order to do that.
Or do we have to review the contract, or is that?
No, it's just part of it. The resolution is part of it, and it just says that she gets an increase by resolution. So we have to do the resolution so she can get it. All right, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Robinson.
No, ma'am.
Mr. Cox.
No, ma'am.
Ms. Gorman, anything else?
No, at this time. Thank you.
Ms. Baloo.
I do have a couple of
You've been
updates
mighty
for you.
quiet tonight.
I love it when you make my job easy. You don't have to do anything, you just do it all right.
Thank you. Nice to know.
I have a couple of updates about 2 foreclosure cases. So the foreclosure case on the Flournoy property has been dismissed. Mr. Flournoy did pay, what he agreed upon paying. As far as I understand, the property is still in compliance. So we dismissed the case per the agreement that we entered with him.
Wonderful.
Today, we were, after fighting with the Levy County Clerk for a good bit of time, we were finally issued the certificate of title for the, former Zamora property. So that case is now closed. We have vested title in the city of Williston, and the next step of that will be determining what you want to do with the property. Do you need to use it? Is it surplus? If it's surplus, we'll put it out to bid.
Right, perfect.
The only other item that I have to address is it has been reported to our office that there has been a resident, and I won't name names, who has been harassing airport staff and allegedly engaging in some unsafe behaviors regarding aircraft near the airport. I spoke with Mr. Walker about the situation, and it is our recommendation that we put together a cease and desist letter and send it to this individual.
Perfect.
All right.
That sounds like an excellent idea. I don't, and if you're not aware of that, please talk with Mr. Stiegel, he can tell you all about it. I think that's a wonderful idea. We would appreciate that, because we're about to that point, that's all we know to do.
All right, consider that.
Thank you. The only thing I have is, as a reminder, I'm gonna steal your thunder, don't forget to turn in your city clerk evaluations by February 10th, if you haven't already. They are due by February 10th. I'll start in the back. Ms. Wright, I'm gonna go to you first. Do you have anything for this agenda? I'll start in this back corner. If y'all just go right around, if anybody has anything, please chime in.
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
We are putting together a Citizens Advisory Task Force for our CDBG grant programs. We need a couple of residents. They have to be city residents, and 51% have to be low to moderate income. So this is the kind of, excuse me, task force. They're going to meet on a periodic basis. This is not a board that's going to meet monthly. They're going to meet on an as-needed basis. So we are still looking for 2 people to get applications from, and I'd like to have applications from 4 to 5 so that in case we don't meet that 51%, we'll be covered. We also have an opening still on the Board of Adjustment and Code Enforcement Board, and by the end of this year, we'll have at least 1, maybe 2 openings on Planning and Zoning Board. So I want people to start thinking about if you want to serve on either one of those. They do meet monthly. Once in a while, they'll get canceled, but for the most part, it's a monthly commitment. And if anybody knows anybody.
The Citizens Advisory Task Force is a requirement of the CDBG, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we're definitely looking to fill this position.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else as we go around the room? Nobody else? Okay. I guess that's it. I see Mr. Witt's hand.
Not to belabor the point, but on the spreadsheet that Stephen Bloom provided regarding Jackie earnings, it listed her total earnings as $82,500, because it added $5,000 onto her $77,500. I don't know if he was intending to say that her base salary was $82,500.
No, her base salary, this is what he sent me, is $77,500.
Okay, so then he's just saying that that's income that is onto it.
It's her car, you're talking about the car allowance again?
It's no money she gets.
It's the car allowance as provided in her contract. There are others that get car allowances as well, and phone allowances for that matter.
I was just curious because it didn't say, on the spreadsheet it said $80,500 is the total wages. I know he said.
Well, it included it as other, yes, but if you look at the current, I have that in front of me as well, so I do. $77,500 is under regular wages, other pay is $5,045, and that, as he clarified, is the car allowance. The $25 is the safety bonus, and that's what it is. total taxes and benefits. Yeah. Our base pay right now is $77,500, and that's what we use when we do the increase. We don't use the total, including the car allowance.
So it won't go up until you get the resolution approved?
Right. Because the contract says it has to be done by resolution. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment from anyone, except the audience, of course. Aaron's giving me a motion. I have a motion and a second from Ms. Hines. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
You wanna make motion?
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Update on, not gonna happen.